Hey there. Today is Tuesday, Tuesday. What is today? Today is Tuesday, March 21, 2017, 1:23 p.m. My name is Danny, and this is my vlog. For those of you who are a little new, I do these vlogs, which is an abbreviation of video log or video blog. It's just sort of a little video thing of where I sort of update people on different things that are happening in my life. Out of all of the different social media mediums, actually, I would probably say that vlogs are my favorite. I like them because when I watch other people's vlogs, it just gives me a direct, realistic, legitimate representation of what I'm getting, right? As opposed to when someone just posts text or perhaps some pictures or so forth. It's just doesn't have that same connection, and often there's lots of undertones if there's editing or that type of thing. It's kind of like you get that feel almost as if you're having a conversation with someone. And people who are really good at vlogs, they get so comfortable with being in front of the camera and doing a vlog, which is, it's almost like they're having a conversation with a person or a group of people. And it's been a while since I did my last vlog. I've just been really busy, and it's kind of a lot of work too to do vlogs, right? It's not just like whereas you can just pick up your camera and just do it anytime, right? There's a lot of work and preparation, and you have to make sure that you look good and you're properly cleaned up and that type of thing. Although I have seen people do vlogs when they're just waking up, which is sort of a terrible thing to do, but I don't know. For someone who is young and good looking, I guess they can get away with it. But anyways, so I'm just going to talk about a few things. First of all is, I think a big part of my audience are soccer people. So I just wanted to address those people first. Because what I used to do is, one of the things I do regarding soccer is I organize pickup games, and when I used to have these pickup games, I used to just write sort of a post-game commentary just in text, and the reason I did that was just so that people could first of all just make sure that a game actually happened, that people showed up and played a real game. Because a lot of the times when you get these so-called pickup games, they're usually pretty lame. A lot of the times nobody shows up and no game is played, and people just waste their time by going there, and it's kind of a joke. So I just want to make sure that to tell people that a game was played, people showed up, and I want to give a little bit of value, right? So because I have a soccer background, I just want to give these games a little more purpose, right? So when I would give a feedback, and if it was a technical feedback or a skill feedback or a soccer conception feedback, just to make people feel that they're not going to these games for no reason at all. There's sort of a purpose to them, and they're going to get something out of them, right? So so it's been a while since I've talked about soccer, but our games have been going pretty good. The turnouts have been good to great, and pretty happy about that. You see, where we play our games at the university, we're playing using their facilities, so we have to abide by their rules. You have to remember that some of the rules are strict and some kind of stupid. And one of the rules that they have is they have kind of like a 10 player or more policy, meaning they have the right to not allow people to play unless they have 10 or more players. And the reason that they give that is because they want to try to make use of the facilities, because they think that if people book a court, which is very competitive, and only one or two people show up or nobody shows up, it's a complete waste. And I do kind of agree with that to a certain extent. So, and in the past, it has happened quite a few times when no one has really showed up. So a big thing that I need to make sure of when I do these games is I need to make sure that at least enough people show up, if not more. Like, and if more people show up, that's fine. That's not something that I can really control. But if not enough people show up, then you're in trouble, because it's not like you can just pick people up off the street and get them to go play soccer. And I find when it comes to soccer, it's either people play it or they don't. It's not like, I mean, you'll see volleyball players, for example, that are hanging around, and you will never be able to get a volleyball player to ever even play one game of soccer. They'll just never do it, right? So soccer players are sort of hard to find, and so I'm always just making sure that enough players show up. So if a little more players show up, we sub, that's not a problem. Some people complain when they feel like, quote, too many people show up, but really I don't agree with that, because it's not really like that. It sort of looks like a lot of people show up, but it really isn't, because if you think of literally all of the hundreds of people that I sort of invite, out of all of those hundreds of people where I post my invitations, if only, a dozen or so show up, that's a very small percentage. And really, it doesn't really happen all the time, because it's just sort of a randomized number where for that specific day and time, it was just convenient for a lot of people. And it just so happened that through randomization, that a lot of people felt that time was convenient. Therefore, there were a lot of people that showed up at that time. It's just sort of luck, really. And it's not really like that everywhere. So yeah, the games have had good turnouts. They've been well played, well skilled, competitive, and clean. So most of the people that have been showing up definitely have soccer backgrounds, and you can really tell. So it keeps the game flowing well, it keeps it competitive, and it keeps it clean, meaning you don't have sort of people who don't know what they're doing when they're kicking people's shins and stuff like that, right? So that's been going pretty good. There's probably, now that we're headed towards spring and the university semester is coming to a close, the indoor season, there won't be that many more games, so just keep that in mind. Also, for those who like the indoor, there may not be that many games before the semester ends. Yeah, so the next thing I maybe wanted to talk about while we're on the subject is school, university. I'm in university now, many of you are. The semester's almost over. I think a lot of us are tired, sick and tired of school. Those of us who have been in it consistently since the fall. It's the home stretch. The semester's almost over, finals are almost here, so just stick it out. Be strong, be smart. We can all do this. We can all pass our midterms, pass our exams, pass the courses, do well. So let's just sort of stick that through. Maybe the next thing maybe I want to talk about was the weather. It's been like, we've had a really cold and miserable winter here in Newfoundland, but it's sort of been easing up a little. Yes and no. I mean, like last week, there's certain days where it was brutally cold, and I'd really like not wanted to sort of be out at all in those few days where it's been cold, and it's actually snowed, I think, yesterday also. It's funny because I heard that there was sort of a hiking event that happened over the weekend, and after the hiking they did some sort of bonfire thing, but I did not go, but I would have liked to, but I just had other things to do. But I think on that day the weather was just more suitable for hiking, but I guess they got lucky. So hope they had fun. Yeah, also, let me see if I can get something here. Definitely wish I was a little more prepared here with things. I found it. I'm glad I took the time to bring this out, because yeah, it's funny because for here in the St. John's area, hockey in Newfoundland is pretty popular, right? The issue is their professional teams have really struggled. I guess back a long time ago when I wasn't here, they had a Toronto Maple Leafs farm team, and then that eventually ended. And then after that, there was a Quebec Major Junior League, and that's the league that's analogous to the OHL and the WHL. It's kind of like the junior league that is just before the NHL, where most of those players get transferred over to the NHL. And so they had a team here in the St. John's area called something. And for certain reasons, I think it was low attendance maybe, that sort of dismantled. And then finally, the ice caps the Ice Caps started here, and they're an AHL team, the American Hockey League. That's a secondary league to the NHL. And the I guess the former premier of Newfoundland, Danny Williams, once he resigned or retired from politics, he's a businessman, lawyer, but he's a businessman, so he decided that he wanted professional hockey back in Newfoundland, so he himself decided to make sure that the AHL Ice Caps were here. And so their farm team is the Winnipeg Jets. And I guess there were problems because Winnipeg is all the way over in Manitoba. And so it's just too hard for the players all the way in Winnipeg, Manitoba, to travel from there to Newfoundland. And so more recently, they transferred the farm team to the Montreal Canadiens. Montreal Canadiens, that was a huge thing because the Montreal Canadiens are sort of the bread and butter, the tradition of NHL hockey, but I guess it was only a 2-year contract with the possibility of extending it, but from what I heard, the Montreal Canadiens, they just decided to end that contract, and I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe it was because it was too far, or maybe they were just unhappy with something. I'm not really sure. But so this is the Ice Caps last season, and again, I just want to be clear, the Ice Caps, what I'm talking about, whereas their farm team is the Montreal Canadiens, and it's their final year, and I guess they don't have any other professional hockey for next year yet, so that's still up in the air. But I've only gone to, I think, one Ice Caps games since they've been here, and knowing that this was their final season, the one Ice Caps game that I did go to, that's when their farm team was the Winnipeg Jets, so a very different team. So I haven't seen an Ice Caps game in which their farm team was the Montreal Canadiens. But knowing that it's their last season here, I wanted to at least see one. And so I bought a ticket. And so I'm looking forward to that. It'll probably be the one and only game that I'll see for the Ice Caps in which the Montreal Canadiens were the farm team. And yeah, so this is the ticket. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that because it's on Saturday, and the ticket was $21.83. That's not too bad. But still, I mean, it's money. It's still kind of expensive, but not too expensive. And I bought it as I purposely bought it because we're going sort of as a group. It's part of like a bigger group, so I purposely wanted to go to the game as a group so that I could be with people and meet new people. I mean, I could have probably just went to the box office and bought a ticket on my own, but it's much better when you go with a group of people. Yeah, it's $21.83. I mean, it's kind of like, if you think about it, like, you know, people are actually paying, you know, $21.83 or sometimes much more to watch other people play sports. So, I mean, you know, you've made it when you're playing sports and people are paying money to watch you. I mean, that's the ultimate sign of athletic success, right? But anyways, I'm looking forward to seeing that game on Saturday, and I'll be bringing my camera, so I'll be taking a lot of pictures, taking video, and I'm gonna post all of that on my social media sites. So make sure you check out my social media sites for pictures and videos of that Ice Caps game. Probably the only one that I'll be going to for this season. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. What else can I talk about before my camera runs out of space here? Any new movies that I wanted to talk about? Any new music? I guess Chuck Berry just died. Rest in peace. Music. There was a new Metallica album that came out. Well, it's been a little while now, but I'm kind of curious about that. I've always been a big Metallica fan, although I haven't sort of listened to a lot of their newer albums, but I'd like to get back into them. Their old stuff was really good. Movies. I guess there was that movie called Get Out with Allison Williams, who's Brian Williams, the reporter's daughter. It's a racially themed movie. I'll probably actually wait until that comes out online, like Netflix or something. It's one of those movies that I'd rather just watch online. Yeah. I just bought this, like, my new globe at the store. It's pretty neat, actually. It's got, like, yeah, let's see if I can get it here. Yeah. So I've always wanted to buy just one of those normal globes, but they're sort of hard to find for some reason in just normal retail stores. I think you can buy them online, but I just didn't want to go through that trouble. And I think there's at least one place where you can just buy the normal size globes, but I was just shopping somewhere and they had that smaller globe, like the one that I just showed you that I bought, and so I just decided to buy it. It's kind of nice because it's nicer to have a smaller version. It doesn't take up that much space or that type of thing. Yeah. So I'm gonna wrap up because space is running out on my camera. So thank you for watching. Have a nice day. See ya.